Cardinal Thomas Daly, Primate of all Ireland, and the hot favourite to be the first English-speaking pope since Robbie Coltrane, glanced up from his desk. "You look like you've been celebrating," he said. I nodded. It hurt. I had one of those headaches that begins in your feet. Up top, the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse had tethered their restless mounts to the back of my eyeballs. The 1,000 curious little green woodpeckers cunningly masquerading as summer raindrops thumping at the window didn't help. "My wife had a baby last night," I said. "Really?" I nodded. It hurt some more. "Congratulations!" He gave me the warm-hearted smile of a nice man with a problem and turned perplexed eyes to the file lying open on the desk before him. He made a note. I have never felt entirely easy with people who maintained files on me, particularly religious people. "Thank you." I'd met him before at some press conference or other, but he plainly didn't remember. He was 54 years old, plump, mostly bald, pink-faced. He had been cardinal for 10 years. He was mostly based in Dublin these days, but he had managed to hang on to his northern accent. He still kept a house in Belfast. He had done his training up north. His first parish was in what he would call Derry, and he was still a regular visitor. Everyone seemed to like him. He did a lot of good cross-community work, which you can file under shaking hands with Protestants. A tough enough calling. "Sure, if you'd given me a call, I could have rearranged this. You'll be in no mood to—" I was curious. And I was. My dealings with the Catholic Church are few and far between. I'd once survived for 3 days on nothing more than a purloined bottle of red wine and some communion wafers, but it hardly amounted to religious fervour. "Of course. You don't mind if all of this stays off the record, do you?" Why do all the best stories start like that? He smiled again. "I know," he said, "but you'll understand when I tell you." The Cardinal pulled at his lower lip for a moment. "You're not a religious man, are you, Dan?" "In fact, I'm the product of a mixed marriage. My father was an agnostic, my mother an atheist, although they still counted themselves as good Protestants. Protestantism never has and never will be about religion. It's about property and culture and spitting at Catholics." "No, I'm afraid not," I said. "I was married in a Presbyterian church, if that's any help." "But you're not a practicing—" "I was a practicing footballer. There was a good church team." His eyes held steady on me, but it didn't feel like he was sizing me up. It felt like he had made his mind up the instant I entered the room. The file, of course. The only thing that had surprised me thus far was his tardiness in offering me a drink. "Would you say you had no real interest in religion, then?" he asked. "None at all, but I'll convert to anything if the price is right." He nodded glumly, which wasn't the response I'd anticipated. "And what of the Catholic Church? Have you any particular views on it?" "Nope." "But you're not anti-Catholic?" "Nope." I took in some air. Musty air. There were big, leather-bound books all around, the kind you could only pick up these days in the special offers at the back of the Sunday supplements. My head was threatening to start revolving. I was beginning to regret answering the summons. If it hadn't been extremely polite and cautiously mysterious, I wouldn't have come at all. I had better things not to do. "Is all this leading somewhere, Cardinal?" "Yes, sorry, of course. I should get to the point. That's the problem with the church generally. Too much pontificating. Though Lord knows I've done my best. Would you say you were familiar at all with the traditions of the Catholic Church in Ireland?